Melissa, we've had a lot of situations arise over the couple of years in regards to wire fraud, and it's a
Yes,
scary thing. I know recently you had a situation, and
I did.
I think it's pretty powerful that you can share that information with our listeners, with realtors, with everybody, and hopefully stop this from happening.
So, Emilio, the idea of wiring and the risk of fraud has really become a rampant issue as a result of email scams and hacking. There's phishing, there's all sorts of things, right? Really sophisticated hackers can do in
Mhm,
order to intercept email communications and basically redirect money. So
mhm.
I want to make sure that I'm being clear. Wiring unto itself is not a high risk activity. So
Yep.
if you go into the bank and you have picked up from my office by hand copies of our wire instructions so that you know they're trusted and verified, and you go to your bank to initiate a wire, you're not going to be facing any issues. Your bank initiating the funds over the wire line to get into our bank account is not where the risk lies. Wiring unto itself is not risky. It's the way that we're getting the information that can be considered risky. But a lot of times what's happening is that the information is being exchanged electronically via email. And that is, of course, where the risk arises. And frankly, Emilio, is where we saw as recent as last week a live situation.
Ugh.
And it has really become a major problem. It's the closest I've been to wire fraud. What happened with my client is email got involved. And this is, Emilio, where we see wire fraud really wiggling itself in and making everybody much more high risk. My particular client was selling a property in Massachusetts and buying a property in Rhode Island, but she was
Yep.
going to owe about $150,000 between the two. She didn't have enough money from the proceeds of her sale to purchase. So I had spoken to her, Emilio, no joke, weeks leading up to this. And I said,
Ugh.
just go to the bank, get a bank check, make it payable to our office for the approximate amount. We'll fine tune it and we can figure out the difference as we get closer, because she was going to be moving across state lines, and getting banks to give you checks, it's just easier when you've got a little bit of time to plan. So she did that. She goes and gets the bank check on Tuesday. On Wednesday, she gets an email purporting to be from my office identifying that we now need a wire, and that the builder won't give her access to the property because the funds need to be clear, liquid immediately, same day, and that a bank check won't be liquid. And she's responding to this person saying, well, I've already got the bank check per my instructions with Melissa. And they said, I'm so sorry for any inconvenience, but unfortunately, if you want to avoid any delays of the closing. Now, if I read you the emails, you would be astounded, Emilio. They were pretty well scripted,
Wow.
honestly. And of course, it had our signature. So it looked completely legitimate. So she calls me on Thursday and said, I just got an email from you saying that you didn't get my money from yesterday. And I said, I'm confused. You're bringing me a bank check. And she said, right, but you asked me to wire it to you yesterday. And I said, I don't think so. Are you sure it came from me? So as soon as I get the email over, I see the sender said Melissa, Melissa, at DELLANA law.com. They changed one letter in
Oh,
my last name. So it was absolutely a well-drafted fraud. And this person was using a free email, right? So this is the ultimate takeaway, is that if you're using free email, the Gmails, the Yahoos, the AOLs, anything that doesn't have proper privacy and securities built in around it,
mhm.
then the hackers are watching you, which feels really uncomfortable. So our client on Thursday recognized that there was $156,000 completely gone. Fortunately, they had access to additional funds to get another bank check and prepare to bring it to closing so that we could still close on Friday on the purchase. This person's sale was already set to go on Friday. So this person would have otherwise been homeless had they not had additional funds to be able to come to the closing and cover this gap. Our IT company confirmed that it had nothing to do with us. The hacking didn't happen on our end. We push the information out securely, as do most attorneys. But
Mhm.
where the risk is if an agent or a client is using a free email, they've exposed the entire chain of the transaction, because now they can pose, right? They've got everybody's signatures, they've got everybody's vernacular down. They can pose as anybody in that transaction.